let's talk about Istanbul. We all know the name. We know it's this incredible city that literally straddles two continents. But today, we're going to look past that famous skyline. Because the real magic of Istanbul, it's in the secrets, the interwoven cultures, and the hidden stories that are lying just beneath the surface. So, let's start digging.
So I want to start with this question for you. What if the true soul of this ancient, sprawling city isn't actually in the grand palaces or the massive mosques? What if it's in the forgotten harbors, the quiet little neighborhoods, the everyday places where life has been happening for centuries?
Right, so first things first, we have to get beyond that postcard view. You know the one. We're going to start with what's familiar, and then we're going to start peeling back the layers to find the much more complicated and honestly way more interesting city that's hiding in plain sight.
Look, we all know the icons on the left, right? Hagia Sophia, the Blue Mosque. They are absolutely magnificent, no doubt about it. But the real story, the deeper narrative we're looking for, that's over on the right. We're talking ancient shipwrecks, a 15th century synagogue, a giant merchant inn. This is the hidden Istanbul we're here to find.
And to really get these layers, you have to appreciate the timeline. I mean, this city has had three completely distinct identities. It was the Greek colony Byzantium, then the capital of the Byzantine Empire as Constantinople, and then the heart of the Ottoman Empire as Istanbul. Each new era just kind of wrote its story right on top of the last one, but it never fully erased what was there before.
So now let's really start digging, and I mean that literally, into the ground, but also figuratively into the cultures that have managed to survive for hundreds and hundreds of years.
You know, the craziest thing about this is that it was a total accident. Workers were building a new subway line, and they just stumbled upon this completely lost 1,600-year-old harbor. We're talking shipwrecks still full of cargo. This was just incredible, physical proof that for more than 1,000 years, this city was the logistical heart of the entire known world.
But history isn't just about buried ruins, right? It's alive, and neighborhoods like Fener, Kumkapi, and Balat, they're basically living museums. For centuries, these have been the centers for the city's Greek, Armenian, and Jewish communities. The stories of these cultures, their identity, it's written on every single street corner.
And you can see this cultural survival so clearly in the city's sacred spaces. Yeah, the imperial mosques are huge and famous, but then you find places like the Chora Church with these breathtaking Byzantine mosaics, or the Agrada Synagogue, which was a haven for Sephardic Jews who were fleeing persecution in Spain. These buildings tell an amazing story of religious diversity.
Okay, so we've looked at the history and the religion. Now let's talk about the city's engine. You know, the day-to-day stuff, the commerce and social life that really made this place tick.
Think about the city's markets, like the famous Egyptian bazaar. They were never just about buying and selling things. This quote just nails it. They were channels for culture. Spices would arrive right alongside new medical knowledge, new recipes, new ways of thinking. The bazaars were basically the city's circulatory system for ideas.
And this was the city's hidden social infrastructure. The hanlar, they were so much more than hotels. They were like a mix of a co-working space, a university, and a trade hub for travelers. Then you have the hammams, the public baths. These were the city's social networks where deals got made and all the news was shared. And the dervish lodges, they were these spiritual and cultural centers that shaped music and art. This is where real life happened.
Okay, let's explore another hidden layer. This is one you might not see, but you could have once heard it on every single street corner. A whole symphony of different languages.
I mean, just look at this. Ottoman Istanbul was not a monolingual city, not even close. It was the place where you'd hear Turkish, Greek, Armenian, Ladino, which is this unique Judeo-Spanish language, plus Arabic and Persian, all spoken in daily life. This wasn't just a capital city. It was a truly cosmopolitan hub where cultures were mixing constantly.
And the evidence for this is still there. You just have to know where to look. It survives in these beautiful Ladino songs that have been passed down through Jewish families. You can see it on gravestones with inscriptions in 2 or 3 languages, and it's even in the official court documents of the empire. This linguistic diversity was just a fact of life.
But this brings us to a really crucial point. All these delicate and credible historic layers, they're now facing some very modern threats that are challenging their very existence.
And the pressure is coming from all sides. You have rapid urbanization that just changes the whole fabric of the city. You've got gentrification in neighborhoods like Balat, which often pushes out the very communities that gave them their character in the first place. And mass tourism, well, it risks completely overwhelming the authentic culture that everyone comes to see. It means this hidden history is incredibly fragile.
Thankfully, the story doesn't end there.
there's a growing movement of people who are fighting back. They're working to protect this heritage by recording oral histories from elderly residents, leading preservation projects, and just fighting to keep these invisible layers from disappearing forever.
So, how do we wrap all of this up? How do you describe a city like this? Well, there is one perfect word that really captures the essence of Istanbul and all its hidden stories.
The word is palimpsest. Now, it sounds a little academic, but the idea is actually really simple. Originally, it described an old manuscript, where someone would scrape the ink off to write something new, but you could still see the faint traces of the old writing underneath. That is the perfect metaphor for Istanbul.
The city's identity isn't just one thing. It's not just Byzantine or Ottoman or Turkish. No, it's a rich, complicated, overwritten manuscript where the traces of Greek, Roman, Armenian, Jewish, and countless other stories are always peeking through from just beneath the modern surface.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Exploring Istanbul's hidden layers. It teaches us to look a little closer at the world around us. So I'll ask you, what overwritten histories, what forgotten communities, what hidden stories does your own city hold? What's just waiting to be discovered right beneath the surface?